Also, I want to mention something. Big 12 Studio streaming on YouTube. In the YouTube comments, got a great question, which was, what's been the best year of the Big 12? This came from Canthony37 on YouTube. Make sure to jump in the comments there. What's been the best year of the Big 12? Our buddy James Faust submitted that it was the year TCU played for the national championship. I think you can look at this in a couple of ways. You can look at it like with Texas and Oklahoma and without. But I think it's hard to argue against the early to mid 2000s when Vince Young led Texas to the Rose Bowl. And, you had Oklahoma and Nebraska were rolling. Kansas was good at that point in time. Missouri was really good under Gary Pinkel with Chase Daniel at that point in time. Think about Michael Crabtree and Texas Tech and how dominant they were. They had that win against Texas. So, I think 2007, 2008 is probably the best year of the Big 12. 2008, Kansas played Missouri as a top 10 matchup, which it says nothing about what was happening in the Big 12 South at that period of time with Texas and Texas Tech and Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, which were rolling at that time. So I thought that was a really interesting question.
So the Big 12 Conference, from a winning percentage, and remember, everybody goes 500 in league play, so this essentially comes down to what you do in the non-conference and in your bowl games, right? The best year in the Big 12 from a winning percentage. Well, let me start with this. The second best year in the Big 12 was 2011. That was the year that Oklahoma State made their run, and they got snubbed, and everybody thought they should have been playing in the national championship game. They had to settle for the Fiesta Bowl because our guy from Iowa State ran it in overtime, and Iowa State upset Oklahoma State, their only loss.
Jeff Woody,
thank you.
Way to go, Jeff.
That was Brendan Whedon and Justin Blackman. That team was stacked on defense. That's the thing about that Oklahoma State team. They were so good defensively, but people forget about that side of the ball.
Right.
Because they didn't have the star power. All right, so that was the second best year in the Big 12 Conference from a winning percentage. What do you think was the best year?
Okay, so you said 2011 was the second best year.
Second best year, Big 12 Conference, winning percentage in football. Of all the years in the Big 12. This is bowl games and non-conference because everybody goes 500 in conference play. We're not going to fall into that SEC trap.
Before or after 2011?
After.
Wow. Okay, that's shocking. This year?
This year. 2025. You could make a case has been the best year in the Big 12 Conference if you look at the numbers.
Wow.
Now, with that said, I think your point about do we include Texas and Oklahoma in that conversation is key. So I look for a season where Oklahoma and Texas weren't the best teams in the Big 12 Conference. So for me, the first year that popped into my mind was 2014, I believe, where you had Baylor and TCU both in the top 5 going into the bowl season. Now, they got snubbed for the national championship and the college football.
But 14, TCU wasn't in the Big 12 yet, right?
Yes, they were in the Big 12.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, what year did they join the Big 12?
That was Trayvon Boykin, and they had a really good receiver that year. They finished number 3 in the country. They went 12-1.
Wow.
Their only loss was to Baylor, who went 11-2 and 8-1 in league and finished in the top 10. The final regular season week, you had 3 Big 12 teams in the top 10 that year, and none of them were Texas or Oklahoma. TCU was number 3, Baylor was number 4, and Kansas State was number 9.
Wow.
In 2014.
That's shocking.
That was a banger of a year.
And that one's hard to remember because I don't think there were any like big-time bowl wins or bowl games in that one. I'm assuming all 3. Was that the year that what bowl game? I'm trying to remember now.
So here were the bowl games. TCU played in the Peach Bowl against Ole Miss and beat them 42-9. No, 42-3.
Wow.
Baylor played Michigan State in the Cotton Bowl, an instant classic, 42-41. Remember, that was Kirk Cousins. Michigan State. They were a top 10 team. And then Kansas State crushed UCLA in the Alamo Bowl, K-State lost the Alamo Bowl, 40-35. That was the Huntley kid at quarterback for UCLA. Oklahoma State beat Washington in their bowl game. But again, I think we looked past that year because Texas was bad.
Yeah, you're right.
Oklahoma wasn't as good. They went 8-5. But when we look at the current members in the Big 12,
That was the best year.
yeah, that one stands out to me.
That one or whatever the TCU national title game was, 21,
Which was 22.
22.
Yeah.
Simply because it was the first ever playoff win for a Big 12 team, and it wasn't. I mean, Oklahoma had played in 4 consecutive playoffs or 3 consecutive playoffs at that point.
Yeah.
Had won so many consecutive national championships, but could not break through and winning a playoff game. So for the Big 12 to get their first playoff win and not have it be Texas or OU was huge. And then, of course, K-State obviously won the Big 12 that year. We don't have to talk about what happened in their bowl game, but maybe we should, because I like making fun of K-State because they just dominate Kansas.
I mean, this is a great topic, though, and a great question, because how much do you weigh where the top team, how far they go versus, like when I looked at this,
Right.
my first thought was, okay, how many teams did we have in the top 10
Yeah.
going into bowl season?
Right. I think, and that's why 2014 is probably the answer here.
But the Big 12, the most ranked teams the Big 12 has ever had in the final week of the AP Top 25 is 5. And there are 8 seasons in which that has been tied.
Wow.
Never had more than 5. Great question. Coming up next year on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio and Big 12 Studios, we look at the college football playoff race and why it truly begins on November 1st. He's Ari, I'm James, and this is Big 12 Radio and Big 12 Studios.